Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another unboxing component video for Elder Signs. This is the Omen of Ice expansion. Arguably, probably the hardest expansion to find. It took me quite a while to finally get a hold of it, but we got one. So if you've seen all the other videos, we have you can do stuff right in Arkham. You can do stuff outside of Arkham, like in the museum is the base set. They have Arkham, Streets of Arkham. You can do stuff around this town of Arkham, but then they have my brains are the Pharaoh set, so it's like you're going to Cairo and Egypt and stuff like that. And then they have the depths, you gotta do stuff underwater. So here we're gonna do an ice theme set. So we're going to the tundra. There's some overview. Here's all your cards. So you're gonna get some elasting cards. 3 excuse me, 3 new ancient ones, 8 new investigators, 5 spell, ally, unique item, common items, of course your mytho cards, and then all the stuff that's specific to it, plus 12 more monsters. Alright, so we're gonna kind of jump in and see what's all in this. So like the other expansions, if you're going to use this, you can combine some of the base set stuff with it, like monsters. You can use any investigators. But you have to use all the actual cards in the game. The adventure cards can only be from this set. The Otherworld deck can be a mixture of everything. So it says, when using it, use the new components. Combine any of the following of new components with their respective found in the base game. So you can use investigators, common items, unique items, spell, allied cards, and monster markers in any game. Can all be mixed together. So there's definitely an advantage of buying more and more of all the different expansions, even if you maybe don't really like the theme as much, because it gets you more options to do things with. But they have new a little glare there. New adventure cards just for this one, and new mythos deck, star markers, new entrance, stuff like that. This also does the stages, so you're going to have stage 1 cards, and then when you get through stage 1, you can do stage 2, kind of easy, hard difficulties, and the little numbers on the bottom that show that. You also start with 3 available and 3 face down, so you kind of get a they'll have a certain effects on here, so you might want to activate some on the back of the cards quicker, just so you don't have to keep dealing with that effect. But then also, you get a little bit more options of stuff to do, because you can kind of see the different. I'll show you when we get the cards. But there's colors of difficulties for the card too, so you also have more of an idea of what you might be fighting against. Choosing ancient one, it specifies you should use one from this set. And that's just probably because cards might reference them, and that's about there. There's the expansion, a little tentacle that has icicles on it. We have the expedition card, the track card, the supply card, and a weather card. So you have a couple of different things there, easy, normal, hard. And I'll kind of go over them when we pull the cards out. There's some special adventure cards in here. They're not shuffled into the deck. They basically start the game out, or help you advance the story. Yeah, and then of course you have your Alaskan Mythos cards, which are going to have the stuff for this theme, and has more stuff that affects these storm markers. There's split penalties and rewards, which weren't in the base game, so if you get this, you have an option of which one you want. So that's kind of neat. And there'll be a storm marker icon. We have a bunch of more stuff to go through here. I'm going to kind of flip through it. So lots of this stuff is the same, or it'll be kind of explanatory when you actually start playing. They do have midnight monster icons on some of them, so it says, in your case, the monster has a midnight effect, so at midnight resolve all the effects printed on that card. Playing other game modes. The Alaskan Adventure, Mythos, Track, entry cards are only used for this. All other content can be played with any base game or any of the other modes. So yeah, you got decks can't be mixed. You can't be mixing the Arctic with the ice set with the water set, or the desert set, because they have different themings and things like that. I mean, although, and I say this in so many of my videos, this is a board game that you own. You can do whatever you like. If you honestly want to mix and match every single card in every, like, 6 expansions with the base game and just have random chaos everywhere, you sure can. There are some cards that will directly reference a particular set or something that's going on. You could pull out, still use the other ones, or you could possibly ignore, like, if something has like a storm effect or something like that, if you're not playing with that. But it's up to you. But they're generally saying not to. So, like, here's all your different rewards and penalties. They just add. Lots of these are kind of the same, or been the same in other ones, but maybe they weren't in the base set. But, like, this one has Storm, which says add 3 storm markers to the adventure. So if that's on one of your cards, or like these ones were supplies, and you're not using that particular thing, then it wouldn't work. So that's why they recommend you not doing that. Midnight timing effects, just in case you have trouble figuring out when stuff should active. And the difficulties of the 3 new ancient ones, which is really nice that they put that in there. So you kind of got at least some idea of what you're playing against. Alright, so we're going to look at some of the basic stuff. So we have, let's see if I can zoom in a bit. We have the investigator turn order. So this is your movement, your resolution, your clock phase. It's always helpful to have these types of cards, just so that we don't have to keep trying to run back to the book or remember everything. But also, it helps because, like, this one says resolving all the storm markers, or moving the expedition camp, because it's a little bit different from game to game based on what type of scenario you're playing. And then this one just has that midnight effect timing, tells you when to do that specific things. This is actually probably one you might use for all the different games, because it's a lot more generic. But that is that. So then we get the back of this card. Snow Cover Expedition Camp. So if we flip it over, we have the actual expedition camp. So this is your starting base, or like your entryway. To start an investigator's clock phase, he may pay the listed cost to choose any investigator to do one of the following. So 6 trophies, you can remove up to 5 storm markers from an adventure. 5 trophies, you can gain an ally. 4 trophies, either gain 1 unique item or 1 clue. 3 trophies, gain either 1 common item or 1 spell. 2 trophies, regain 2 stamina or sanity, and 1 trophy, discard the top card of the adventure deck. So at the start of the he may pay to choose any investigator to do the following. So I'm just looking at this here. So it says resolution phase here. It says roll dice, complete task, resolve the adventure, take your rare separate penalties. If successfully resolved, move to the expedition camp. So if everyone succeed, if you succeed, you gotta go back to the expedition camp. That way you can play a new one. If not, you stay on there. Yeah, it's kind of neat to get on there. You can have anyone gain stuff, so you can even heal people even if they're not at the expedition camp, or at least that's how I'm reading it. So we have basically 2 difficulties here of your expeditions. And this has your supply tokens. So you have summer. It says at midnight, if investigators have 0 supplies, each investigator loses 1 stamina. So you gotta keep your supplies up to survive. Then you're also dealing with the weather down here. And on day 1 and day 2, nothing's gonna happen. But then starting day 3 through 7, you're gonna get these storm tokens, which are gonna cause different effects. And then after that, you're just gonna start adding 2 doom every turn. So basically, the longer your expedition takes, the weather gets worse, and you're gonna end up having a bad time. Now, if we play winter, we're gonna get a little bit worse. It says, again, at midnight, investigators have 0 supplies. Each investigator loses 1 stamina. Now, it has up to 9 I believe it was still 9 on that side. Yep. You can actually get more than 9. So if you get more than 9, you'll flip your token over to the other side, and then you start back at 0. So essentially, it's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, so on and so forth. So you can build up more than 9 at a time. So that way, if you get stuck that says lose 3, you're not falling so far behind. Now, the weather chart on the bottom of winter's a lot worse. You get one clear day, then all the rest of the days are storm, followed by death. So if it gets to the death, day 8, you just die. So that kind of sucks. Let's see if it said anything else. I mean, I'm sure it does say more in here about this. So, yeah, located on the bottom of the track is a day track. When midnight strikes, before any other at midnight effects are resolved, or a new Alaskan mythos is drawn, advance the day token in one space, then add the number of storm markers to the adventure as indicated by the new space on the track. When the day token loses the last space of the day, investors suffer a penalty, depending on whether it is summer or winter. Track is being used. If it is summer, add 2 doom tokens to the track, move the day token back to day 7, adding 7 storm markers to the adventure. If it's winter, the investigators lose the game. Yeah, which you probably don't want to have happen. I don't know if you can beat the game in 7 turns or not. But that definitely at least adds an interesting challenge. Alright. So now we're going to look at our big bads. Our elder gods. So we have Aquithwa, which is essentially like Bigfoot or a giant Yeti. So there you can see there's some storm tokens on there. There's some doom counters to help activate these guys. So it says the Windwalker. At the start of each investigator's turn, add 1 storm marker to each adventure without a storm marker. That investigator may discard 1 item, clue, spell, or ally to prevent this. When he attacks, when Aquithwa awakens, if there are less than 8 elder signs on the sheet, the investigators lose the game. When Aquithwa attacks, each investigator must discard 1 item, clue, spell, or ally. If he cannot, he is devoured. It's definitely the hard one. Here we have Erlim Shikhorth, the Killing Cold. Looks kind of like giant snow serpent, I'm gonna guess. I'm only gonna say snow because it's winter. Yeah, he has a couple different counters on there. At midnight, add 3 star markers to the adventures. When an investigator moves the adventure with a storm marker, he must lose 1 stamina. His attack is when he awakens, place all storm markers in play on this sheet. When he attacks, add 1 star marker to the sheet, then the investigators as a group will have a total amount of stamina and or sanity equal to the number of markers on the sheet. Ooh, so that means like you get you get like 2 or 3 out on your adventures. You're going to want to beat them adventures so they go away, so you don't collect a bunch of damage. And then this should be the easier guy. Wrath Tigoth, the Insatiable Hunger. Yeah, he's a big blobby guy with like worms for everything. When 1 or more elder signs are added to the sheet, if 1 investigator loses 2 stamina. If the investigator is devoured by this ability, add 2 doom tokens to the doom track instead of 1. His attack, when he attacks, one investigator loses 2 stamina. If an investigator is devoured, add 2 doom. Okay, so his abilities aren't nearly as harsh. Alright, then we're going to look at our new investigators. So we have Silas Marsh, the Sailor. Gets a common and unique item. Pulling of the Tides. Once per day during the investigator's turn, Silas may spend 2 stamina or 2 sanity to prevent the clock from advancing. Ooh, that's actually pretty powerful. I mean, you only do it so many times, but... Tony Morgan, the Bounty Hunter. He always gets his man. When attempting an adventure with a monster, Tony gains the red die for free, even if it's locked. Nice. Ursula Downs, the Explorer. Trailblazer. Once per day at the start of any investigator's turn, Ursula may look at the top 2 cards of the adventure deck. Then she places 1 card at the bottom of the deck and the other back on top. Actually, just kind of choose where she wants to go. Rex Murphy, the reporter. Search for proof. When 1 or more Doom tokens are added to the Doom track, Rex gains 1 clue. Once per game, Rex may spend 4 clues to remove 1 Doom token from the Doom track. Cool. A little bit. I like how all the abilities are fairly different. Lily Chen, the martial artist. Yin and Yang. At any time, Lily may spend 1 sanity to regain 1 stamina, or 1 stamina to regain 1 sanity. She cannot spend her last of either. She gets some weapons, though. Charlie Kane, the politician. Connections. Charlie's items and allied cards may also be used as trophies with a value of 2. Charlie may allow other investigators to spend his trophies, including his items and allies. Ooh, that's really neat. Plus, he starts with an ally. Now, why do guys do that? Agnes Baker, the waitress. When Agnes secures a die on one of her spells, she may change the result of that die to a die of her choice. Nice. Like, help you definitely figure stuff out. And our last one is Wendy Adams, the urchin. The blessed child. Once per roll during her turn, she may spend 1 sanity to turn a die showing a Cthulhu symbol to result of her choice. She has 7 sanity, so she can do it a bit. But yeah, it's kind of neat. Yeah, that's definitely another advantage of picking up this game, is you can get, even if you maybe don't want to play this ice or you see the rest of it, is, again, you can play with all these new investigators. We're going to look at the tokens and stuff quick, and then we'll jump into some of the cards, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on all the cards, but here we have a bunch of storm token, your day token, supplies, just in case you get over 20, and then a couple of your different monsters. So we're going to have we'll just pop these 3 out and we'll look at them quick. Probably just setting down on there, maybe they'll focus. Alright, so we got this guy here who has some dual symbols, a midnight symbol, gonna activate, and he is the Aquifa Cultist. At midnight, add 1 Doom to the Doom track. And then we'll have this guy here. Also gonna have a midnight ability. It says Storm Crow. At midnight, add 4 storm markers to the adventure. And I see down here they're gonna have their little symbol, just so you can keep track of which ones go where. So like you can add these guys to any of the things, but like now that midnight ability is not gonna be as useful for those. So, like maybe you don't want to include those 2, maybe you do and you just ignore them, and they're really easy guys to fight. Here we have a bear, which is specifically a grizzly. Nothing special for him. Here is token sheet number 2. So here we have all our investigators, plus some more monsters. So we're gonna have 4 of these wolves, and a couple of the other guys. So let's see what we got. So we got 2 of this guy who locks green dice. Ooh, that sucks. Gnope Keth. I mean, it's not that hard otherwise. It's like he just takes 1 health to beat. And you get 2 of them. But locking that green dice always sucks. Here we have this guy. This is a Yeti. Doesn't have any other special effects. But again, they only give you 1 trophy. Harder they are, the more they're going to get you. This guy looks terrible. He's going to lock a red and yellow die, and he costs 2 sanity. Formless Spawn. It's possible you've seen a few of these in another one, like maybe the Formless Spawn. Here we got this guy. I like that they have these dual ones though. That's the harder symbol to get, both of them. The Ancient Yeti. And then we're going to have 4 of these guys. So they'll have one of the midnight abilities, which is gonna say at midnight a monster appears. So they keep summoning more monsters, which could really be bad. Oh, and I did want to show off on the back side of here. So this side's a 1, and that red one's a 20. And on the back side, you have another 10 and a 20. And then on the back of all your snow, you also have other symbols. So I believe, if I remember right, so this is like if you beat an adventure that has a snow symbol, this could either give you a bad effect, like a monster appearing or advancing the clock, or doing damage to you, or it could deny you an item. So there's also just that other inherent bad thing that's going to happen from doing items. So here's all of the adventure cards. So we're going to start by looking at Adventure 1. And again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on all these cards. We're going to kind of flip through them all. So on the back here, we're going to have Into the Wild. This is one of your starting cards. Let me see if we can zoom up a bit. So add this to the adventure face up after completing Arrival. So there's Arrival. So this is like your main quest here you're trying to do. Which is the Arrival, and it said you complete these in that order, and it says put the wild into the wild into play, and then there's your second one, and if you beat this, then you go to stage 2. And you pull all of these stage 1 cards off, and you go right to stage 2. So on the back of these cards, they're going to have some various things. Let me zoom out just a little. So you're going to have a difficulty. Green is easy, yellows are medium, reds are hard. There's also 3 cards for each of these different areas. So like I have 4, sorry. I have 4 Inuit villages. So they kind of tell a little bit of a plot. Like this is stuff that's happening in the village. This is stuff that's happening there. And then at the bottom here, so you may lose 2 supplies or gain 1 clue. So all the ones from the Inuit Village are going to have that. Then we have the Port of Anchorage, which says you may spend 1 trophy to gain 2 supplies. And all of those are going to have that. Downtown Anchorage, you may spend 2 trophies to gain 1 common item. Same thing. Fairbanks, you may spend 1 trophy to regain 1 stamina and sanity. These are just little extra bonuses you can get. The Wetlands, advance the clock unless you lose 1 supply. So you can see how the yellow ones are a little bit meaner. Base Camp, you may regain 1 stamina or sanity. And the last one we have here is the Northern Road. At midnight, add 1 store marker to this adventure or lose 1 supply. So those are all the different like areas, and then if you get into when you get to stage 2, then it's all yellows and reds. Alright, so let's look at what we got here. And this is the Inuit Village, so I'm going to kind of go through all of these at the same time. And you see your different symbols. If you lose, you gotta do this stuff. If you win, you get these white ones. Here's the different things. You need 4 clues, 2 of those, and you lose 1 sanity to complete this. So this is Last Breath. Like this is gonna lock some dice in there. Northern Tales, the Bone Carver, and Halls of Totems. And then this entry ability here is the same, is different than what's on the back. So add 1 Doom counter, track unless you discard 1 marker. So this is your Northern Roads, Corrupt Trapper, Whiteout, Road to Elsewhere, which I can do in order, and Hunter of Men. I'm doing this a little bit backwards. I'm doing the harder ones first. So up next we're going to have the Wetlands, Through the Ice, Finding the Way, Frozen in Time, and Death Below. That's going to add a monster in there. So that was the 4 mediums, and now we're going to look at the 4 easier ones. So let's start with base camp. We have a base camp. So it's going to be Blood in the Snow. Zoom out a little bit. Cabin Fever. Now sometimes you don't get nearly as many rewards, but they're also not usually as punishing. Winter Song and Frozen. The Port of Anchorage. It's going to have warnings in Inuit, Sabotage, Unnatural Blizzard, and Food Shortage. Downtown Anchorage, gonna get Eureka Cafe, Refuge of Faith, Private Collection, and Public Support. And then our final one for set 1 is Fairbanks, which will have Baronet's Trading Post, Frostbite, Visiting Expert, and Obsessive Greed, which is different than Obsessive Creep. Two very, very different things. Alright, and then when you go to stage 2, you'll start Treacherous Ascent. Which you'll have that, and then let's say when that's done, you go to the Heart of Darkness. Move the day token back 1 day space of the day track. So at least if you get there every time, you can keep completing this. You can keep moving it back to day 1. Or at least, and this will stay out. So this is a good way for you. This is how you can beat it in 7 turns. And I'm sure there's going to be other little effects that let you do that with some other cards. Alright. So then we have Highland Taiga. A monster appears here unless you lose 1 supply. So, Poisoned Land, Murder in the Night, Native Warning, and Hunting Party. And then we have the Abandoned Mines. At midnight, a monster appears. We're getting more treacherous. Nowhere Left to Go, Impossible Cavern, Cavern of the Bound, and Cracks in the Ice. Our next one's Coastal Waters. You may flip 1 face down adventure face up. And that'll give us Ford's Terror, Arctic Fog, Frigid Seas, and Dangerous Passage. We have a Desecrated Town. You may play 3 trophies to draw and place 1 otherworld card face up under the other adventures. Chest of Winter, Unnatural Habitat, At the Window, and finally Summon the Storm. So that's all our yellow difficulties. Our reds: Glacier Path. At midnight, add 3 storm markers to the adventure. Swallow Below, Ancient Obelisk, The Storm, and Blackout. Lair of the Beast. Add 1 Doom token to the Doom track unless you lose 2 supply. Frozen Temple, Snow Graves, Larder of Bones, and Spawn of Ichthyoka. And then we have Mountain Pass. Add 1 star marker to this adventure unless you lose 1 supply. The Forgotten Explorer, Pillar of Secrets, Avalanche, and Force of Nature. And our final set is the Cold Unknown. At midnight, add 1 Doom token to the Doom track. The Light Within, Call of the Northern Lights. Ooh, that costs 9. That sucks. The Midnight Sun, and Endless Night. Alright, so that is all of our adventures. Up next, we're going to swing through the Mythos deck, and then we'll look at our various items. I just kind of want to save the items for the end because they're special. And I'm tipping this deck over because I have all my cards sleeved, and when they're sleeved, they don't really want to stay very well. Alright, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time, I'm not going to spend time reading every single one of these because a lot of them are the same effects repeated. So, you're going to get a top and a bottom. Zoom in a bit. You'll get a storm approaches, and this one says, face the storm, add 4 storm markers to the adventure, and then fortify the camp. Lose 4 supplies. I believe you get to choose which one you want. If I'm remembering this right. Double check the book. I know there's some that you can choose, some you have to do both, depending on which set it is. Mythos cards. Zoom out. When players draw and resolve a new Alaska Mythos cards that are pregnant with the dilemma and must choose 2 options as a group between one of the 2 options on a card. Players cannot choose the bottom option if they cannot fully resolve its effect. The player cannot decide group the investigators to do it. So that's saying is you can either opt to lose 4 supplies, which kind of just hurts you, would just maybe hurt like 1 or 2 of you could maybe split up, or you have to add 4 storm markers. But if you don't have 4 supplies, you have to do the top one. So then we're going to get like Unnatural Storm, which is going to have Press On. It actually looks like almost all of these have different ones, which is definitely unique. Usually they just have like the same top will be on like 4 of them, and then like a different bottom, and then they'll have like the same bottom on like 4 different tops. But again, I'm not going to read through all these. I'm just going to kind of flip through them all quick. But you can just see the different stuff, like add 2 storm markers to the adventure and add 1 doom token, or add 2 doom tokens. So can you afford that second doom, or can you afford the 2 storm markers? So we have fall weather. So I'll give you a second if you guys want to read these. Frigid winds. Snow piles high. Eye of the storm. Exposed to the elements. The clouds darken. Curse of ice and snow. Skip that one for a moment. The cold grows. Bestial prowls. And you're going to see some of these are going to have a different name, like appease their hunger, lose 3 supplies, which is the same as set up the camp, which said 3 supplies. Or howls in the night, which says let them roam, add 2 doom tracks. So it's the same idea. Like I said, the other ones that had the same name, this one just has different names for some of them, but they do a lot of the same effects. Hungry strangers, abandoned cabin. Equithus stalks the land. And there's a bunch of these if you're like reading them. You could use in another adventure. Like these, lots of these you can't because they have supplies. So supplies don't mean anything. Hunger grows. But something like this one you could. Treacherous path. Traverse the path. Each investigator rolls a green die. Each investigator that rolls the Cthulhu symbol loses 2 stamina, then lose 1 supply for each investigator. Find another way. Advance the clock 2 and lose 2 supply. I guess you can't because they both say supply. And that's alright though. Moral waivers. Endless darkness. Warren and Wary. Northern relics. Strange lights in the sky. Strangers in the wild. You have 30 of these. So you're going to get probably get to see, not see them all every game. New recruits, stalked by creatures, River of Ice, something in the food, storm on the horizon, a failed expedition, and finally, unnatural terror. But yeah, no, it's definitely neat. You're going to get a bunch. And there's the back of it, because it's going to be like an icy clock, just to kind of, again, set it aside from the other sets so you don't get them mixed up. Alright, then we're going to look at our 15 special cards. We're going to look at our spells first. Excuse me. Alright, so we have Scrying. Discard at the start of your turn to look at the top 4 cards to the Mythos deck. Place 1 at the bottom, and turn the rest to the top in any order. So it's kind of neat. You just stack the deck, and get rid of at least one that you don't like. Summon Guardian Spirit. Discard. When any investigator fails an adventure, that investigator does not suffer any of that card's penalties. That could definitely be a lifesaver if you're using magic. Dark Pact. Discard after you roll a die to change any number of results to result of your choice. At the end of this resolution phase, add 2 Doom trackers to the Doom token. Yes, it sucks you're going to get 2 Doom, but if that's what you need to do to basically guarantee completing a quest, it might be worth it. Because it could get you a bunch of trophies or a bunch of Elder Signs you really need, or it could win you the game, and then who cares? Purifying Flames. After any investigator rolls a die, discard to defeat 1 monster. If it has a Cthulhu symbol requirement, you may defeat 1 additional monster with that. Oh, that's nice. And then finally we have the Chant of Thoth. You may cast a spell during any investigator's turn. Lets you hold 2 dice. Which is definitely nice. I'm glad that there was only 1 of those. I feel like playing through some of the like base game and stuff, I have a ton of those, and it's kind of like, it's nice to get like just some different ones. Alright, and that was just a show off. That was the spells. Now we're going to look at some common items, which will show up as the guns. So you have a hunting rifle. Now I like how these are, lots of these are themed. The items are really themed towards like the Alaskan thing, or hunting. Like this, like you might have to hunt a bear or a wolf, or protect yourself rather. After any investigator rolls a die, discard to defeat 1 monster. If it has a skull coat requirement, also gain 1 clue. You can get a dog sled. Discard before any investigator rolls to give him a yellow die. The winter gear. Gain the yellow die even if it's locked. That's awesome. The tent. Discard at the start of your turn. Skip your movement and resolution phase to fully regain your stamina and sanity. Which, with some of these characters in this set particularly, they have stuff where you can spend. Like Wendy has some, like Silas can spend too. This could definitely be a game changer right there. And personal provisions. Discard on any investigator's turn to cause that investigator to gain 1 stamina and sanity. So yeah, not as necessarily powerful as the other one, but you're also not skipping your entire turn. Okay, then we have the red ones, which are the unique items. A little bit more powerful. So we have the Idol of Aquitha, a discard before any investigator rolls to give them a red die. Or the Brink of the Burnic carving, gain a red die even if it's locked. The Mask of Almanac. After an investigator rolls a die, discard this card to lose 2 stamina to change the die to result of your choice. So kind of like that other one, where you had 2 Doom, you gain a penalty. It's maybe not as good because you can't do all of them. But again, 2 stamina might be worth getting exactly what you need. The Enchanted Arrow. After the investigator rolls a die, discard to defeat 1 monster. If it has the clue or scroll requirement, also draw a spell. I like that theme of defeating 1 monster, you can gain a bonus. And the Stygian Eye. After investigator rolls a die, discard this card and to lose 2 sanity and change it to result of your choice. So it's like the other one, but you can only use it once, but you can change somebody else's result too. So that's cool. And then our last thing we're going to have are our brand new allies. So we're going to get Bill Morris. Place 1 stamina token on Bill Morris during any investigator's turn to cancel the entry or terror effects of an adventure. Discard this when there are 4 or more tokens. I like that it's entry or terror. So I was kind of noticing. So we went through spells and common items and unique items, and none of them referenced anything for this game, which I get why they don't reference this set, because like adding supplies or removing supplies, because they can be used in any game. So I like that this does entry or terror, so you can use it in both. Jeremiah Kirby. After you roll a die, place 1 sanity token on Jeremiah Kirby to change 1 die result to a scroll choice discard after there are 3 tokens on it. So I don't know why they do it that way. Every time you do it, you put a token on him, versus like when you play him, put 3 tokens on him, and then or like have like a symbol that shows that they start with 3 or something, and then as you use it, just remove 1. Like, you know, like, oh, he's losing his sanity or he's losing his stamina, and then now he's done. Like, and he dies like everybody else would. It's just kind of an odd thing. Ronald Edmonson. When an investigator spends 1 trophy, place 1 sanity token on him to reduce the number of trophies. He needs to spend by 3 to a minimum of 1. That could definitely be helpful. Joseph Fagu, or Fagu, I'm not sure. When an attempt to resolve an adventure with a monster, place 1 sanity token on Joseph to add the yellow die to your dice pool, even if it's locked. And then it goes back when it's done. And I am not even sure how to pronounce this name. Akari Al-Ak. I'm sure it's an Inuit name. After you roll a dice, place 1 stamina token on this character to defeat 1 monster. Oh, that is powerful. You get it 3 times. Alright. That is abusive. Alright, so there we go. There is the Elder Signs Omen of Ice. So if you're wondering what was in this expansion, or if it's something you might want, especially since it's a little bit hard to track down, there you go. Now you have an idea. See you guys later. Bye.